Alrighty, welcome back to Large Scale Diorama Works. I was actually working really diligently here, and I had an epiphany. I figured, well, make a video. So here I am. I'm going to make a video. So basically, what I'm doing now, I've started from just a piece of styrofoam that I went ahead and cut up, and the styrofoam that I use is going to be the shipping containers. They're very thick, about 3.5 inches thick. That dense white foam. It's not like your regular beer cooler styrofoam or your the packing you get in your television set. This is really thick stuff. It's used. These boxes are used to ship stuff in dry ice, so it's pretty dense, and it's like what's what they call an 80, a number 80, which is going to be 80% material and about 20% air when they inject this styrofoam. Your normal white styrofoam that you normally find with a beer cooler is going to be about a 60% material and 40% air. That's why you can squeeze it and it breaks so easy. This is pretty thick stuff. Anyway, basically what I did is I went ahead and drew out everything and I cut out everything. And again, those of you who've been following my videos, I only use 3 different measurements. I only use 3 different things to measure, and don't let this ruler fool you. I don't use any of the numbers on here. I make my own lines, but I basically use this for the thickness and to draw my plumb lines. When you're fixing to cut out something, you want to draw a perfectly horizontal and a perfectly vertical line so you can do your windows and everything will plumb out, so it won't slant and all that stuff. But anyway, these are my measuring devices, because everything I make, the measurements are going to be either this or this. Everything, even that. See, that's going to be that wide and that deep. This is going to be double this, so I've actually got a double layer here. And again, I don't make it complicated. I got too many other things to worry about. And again, like the trim here on the side, it's this width. So these are my 3 measuring devices. So no matter what I make, it's easy. I know exactly which one, and if I'm not, I'll just hold it up against it. Again, this is going to be the mainstay. This is going to be the thickness and the width of my bricks. And I've actually, you could kind of tell where I've made the bricks lengths anyway, but that's just rule of thumb. I mean, I don't actually measure anything out. It's just what I think it should be. So if you want to measure everything out, make sure it's exactly. If you're OCD or you want to make it perfect, then by all means. Anyway, but again, these are my measuring devices. I only use these 3 to keep it simple. And again, everything here is going to be measured from those 3 devices. And then my window openings, again, if you've been following along, I only use 3 different size openings. I only use 3 different size windows. My main window to go to is going to be the 1/12 scale. This is actually a 1/12 scale French doors from the Dollhouse. You can get these for about $4.95 online. I get them sets of 3. You can get them either the solid wood, or this is primed wood. I get the primed wood because it's just easier for me to keep clean. So what I do is once I figure out where I want my window, I cut it. And again, I use 2 different colors of Sharpies. My inside Sharpie line, the line that I'm actually going to cut to make the opening, like this one right here, it's going to be in red. So I'll know that line I'm fixing to cut out is going to go all the way through. And then on my outer lines, I will let me here you go. Oh, here's a better difference here. Oh, sorry, I'm just dropping all this stuff all over my dog. Sorry about that, dog. Here's one I'm working on here. You could see my window. Once I got my horizontal lines cut, and once I figured out how high I want those windows, and my vertical line, I went ahead and set that window on that line, and I drew around it with a ballpoint pen. I drew around it, and then I went around it with red. That means that red is going to be whole. It's going to be all the way through. And then I have a double window, as far as there's going to be 2 different levels of window trim here. So that window is going to set right here. It's going to be set in. And then I'm going to cut it again. So this is going to be 3 different depths here. So it's going to be basically that. That window ledge is going to sit all the way on the inside here. And then I'll have an extra level and then another level. So, and again, use different colors to remind yourself how deep or what you're going to do. And again, red always means I'm going to cut out all the way through. Red or yellow is going to go all the way through, so that's going to be a hole. And then I can draw out all my brickwork and everything. And again, everything here is measured out to one of those 3 different measuring devices I showed you. Everything here, all the lines, everything is going to be one of those 3. So Anyway, once I get that done, and get all my, I'll start cutting my brick, and I've got everything sharpied out, and I start cutting all my brick. And this is wet primer, so sorry about that. Once I get all my openings done, and once I get everything, done, once all the cutting's done, I'll come back over with a 120 grit sandpaper. And with the weight of your hand, you can sand it down, and it gets rid of all your blade marks. Most of your blade marks when you shave it down and you cut it. And when you come to your openings, go across. Don't shave up and down. You want to knock that corner off, because when you cut these out, they're going to have a really sharp corner. And what happens when you hit styrofoam, it breaks, especially this white styrofoam. Once you hit a sharp edge, and it'll snap off. So once you round those corners off, just go across and round those corners off. You won't snap those corners, and it makes it look a little bit better. So again, crossways on this first, and then you can do the circular. And again, once you get everything sanded, and especially like, when you're going over like this edge here, what you want to do is you want to roll those edges out. You want to round those edges off so it won't just go across. Round them off first. And again, just weight of your hand. That's all you need, is just the weight of your hand. And this white styrofoam is very easy to sand. And again, it's very easy, especially if you're doing larger scale stuff, because it does most of the work for you. If you break it off, it's a natural texture. You can use that. So once you get everything done and you get everything brushed off and aired out and hit it with an air gun and blow all the dust off, you can start priming. And the primer I use is going to be a Kilz 2. And I don't endorse any of this. I'm not endorsing anything. I'm just telling you what I use. So the Kilz 2 primer is a house primer. And the reason why I love that, it's a primer sealer, and it dries really hard. And I use a little bit of this Folk Art to tint it. So I tint it to this natural neutral gray color. And my first coat of primer is going to be diluted. It's going to be about 60%, 65% primer, and 40% or 35% water, room temperature. Don't make it cold. Don't make it hot, because if it makes it hot, it's gonna cure too fast. So apply it liberally to your foam, because what it's going to do, it's going to soak in. So what you want to do is you want to apply it really liberally. And I've already got a coat on this for the most part, but you want to apply that really thick, because it's going to soak in to the foam. It's going to soak right into that styrofoam. And when it soaks into the styrofoam and let it dry, it's going to make that styrofoam rock hard. It is going to be awesome. It's going to be sandable. And when you do sand it, it's going to look like this. You're going to sand it down. If you've ever block sanded a car, you're going to sand it down to where all the imperfections are filled in. And then once you apply that second coat of primer, it's going to make it even smoother. And again, I don't get rid of all the imperfections off this, because I like the texture, especially doing plaster. But it really helps. And it's this big primer. It's big molecule primer. It's house primer. It's not like your craft paint or your model paint. It's not that real thin molecule. It's real thick. It helps fill in all this. And it really helps me fill in all this too. But again, when I cut my holes, I cut them to 1 to 3 sizes. Everything I do is 1 to 3 sizes. Windows, the depth and width of the trim work, everything is 1 of 3 sizes. Keep it simple. All my brickwork is the same depth unless you go on a smaller scale. All my trim work here, again, everything is 1 of 3 sizes. Keep it simple. Because that's basically all architect is just geometric shapes and sizes. And if you keep everything the same, you can go from one building to another and keep everything universal, unless you want to change it up drastically. But again, I use 3 different windows. I use this window. I've got another window here that is probably buried. I'm going to probably knock off a whole bunch of stuff. This is going to be a French window. Basically, it's a 1/12 scale French door. That's what it is. This is actually going to be a 1/8. It's going to be play scale. It's going to be a single hung window. That's the other one I use. And then this one here is more decorative. This one's like $3. It's plastic, but again, it adds a little bit of a difference. And again, these windows have a back lip on there, so that's where it's going to fit through on this lip here. It's going to rest on that lip. so you can glue it in or whatever. And then of course my doors, I use this door, and they've got a new double door this size, and this is going to be a play scale. If you go in and Google play scale, or go to eBay and type in play scale, you're going to get these larger scale. It's going to be Barbie size. And this is about a $24 solid wood door, and it's really, really cool. So anyway, these are the only ones I use. These are the only ones I use. So everything I make, I can make simple. And once people get a couple of my kits, and once they order more, I know exactly what sizes they have, so I can make stuff that's going to go with that other stuff. So again, that's where I'm at right now. So thanks for chiming in, and again, definitely I want to hear your comments, and hit that like button and everything. And again, I'm gearing up for a show in a couple of months, so hopefully I can have a whole bunch of these made. So again, you have any ideas, any comments, any criticism? Definitely, I'm all about learning from critique. So if any of you masters out there want to, show me an easier way to do stuff, man, I'm all ears. So anyway, definitely thanks for chiming in.